Hey guys, this is Connor at Conquest HP, and this is yet another powerlifting meet prep vlog. I'm just going to go with vlog. I think I'm like 7 episodes deep and I haven't figured out which I should be saying, vlog or vlog. But anyways, my competition is in just a few days. Today is Tuesday. I'm competing on Saturday. So a lot's been happening in the past few weeks. It's been a crazy few weeks. So I thought I'd give you an update on how I've been doing my training and what I've been looking at nutrition-wise and how lifestyle has interacted with that, because that's been a big concern too, or a big factor. So I tried to keep things as simple as possible with my meet prep, and I can, in terms of training, and I can do that because in powerlifting terms, I'm still new. I obviously haven't competed at powerlifting before, and I haven't ever really competed exclusively to get stronger before. There's always been, martial arts or conditioning or, physique considerations. But now it's just been strictly, how much can I squat, bench, dead? So I still have a lot of progress to make on those things, and it gives me some flexibility in that. With my little experience, I don't think I have to do as hard of a cut or as hard of a taper or a peaking as a more advanced athlete would do. So for powerlifting, the idea is to lift as much as you can on meet day. And if you're accumulating fatigue all the time in your training, which you are if you're working hard enough, you just accumulate fatigue. You're always pushing the boundaries, and you just build up this fatigue that keeps building, but it's not dissipating. So the whole purpose of a peaking phase or a taper, where you would intentionally kind of reduce the volume that you're working with, maybe reduce intensity depending on how you do it, is to let that fatigue dissipate. But since I have been making very steady strength gains all throughout this process, almost regardless of what I'm doing in the gym, I'm always working hard, I'm always pushing the volume. But almost regardless of that, that I felt I didn't really need to have a very structured peak and taper. So what I did is I actually stuck with the same template, the same program I'd been using in my strength blocks recently. Which is that daily undulating periodization, where I'm hitting all 3 lifts pretty frequently. Only deadlift heavy once a week, but that's because they kind of cook you a little bit. So I stuck with that same template, and then a little bit closer, and by closer I mean about 2 weeks ago now, I reduced the volume a little bit, maybe 10 or 15% overall. And I tried to increase the intensity a little bit. So the average amount of weight, the average percentage of my 1 rep max I was lifting on each set, I tried to bump that up a little bit, because that's the name of the game, is to put up big poundages, and I thought I'd get a little more practice at doing that, and a little bit less on the volume side of things, which is still, like, building your volume is probably, well, let's say at an intensity range, it's among the best things you can do to get stronger. But if it comes at the price of accumulating fatigue, you don't want to carry that fatigue into your meet day, because you're not going to be able to bring your best possible lifts if you're fatigued on meet day. So I kept things really simple, reduced a little bit a couple weeks ago. Last week, I reduced a little bit further in terms of volume. I was probably up to about like a 30% volume reduction total. But again, I escalated the intensity a little bit, trying to get a little bit closer to the numbers I want to see on meet day. I did that with all of my lifts except for my deadlift last week. My deadlift last week, I intentionally kept a little bit lower intensity, because while I'm not afraid of deadlifting heavy, that's for sure, I love it, but it does tend to drain the nervous system a little bit more than the squat, and the bench. That's because you're starting from a dead stop. You have to overcome that inertia. There's no stretch reflex to help you really on a deadlift. I find that if I hit a really heavy deadlift or a deadlift PR, I'm not going to see another deadlift PR for at least, usually like 2 to 3 weeks would be the next time I would expect to see some increased poundage. So I don't want to play with that closer to the meet, obviously. I want to bring the biggest deadlift I can on meet day. So I pulled that back a couple weeks ago too. Last week, that volume reduction, increased intensity. I stopped my training week on Wednesday. Normally I would stop on Thursday, so I cut out an entire day of training there. That's as close as I got to an actual kind of deload. I'm very accustomed to training frequently and training hard and being very consistent with that. So if I take a traditional deload where you're doing whatever 50% intensity or 50% volume for an entire week, or just doing nothing for a week, I'm going to turn to mush because my body's just not accustomed to that. It's accustomed to pushing hard all the time. So I find that if I take 2 or 3 days off completely from the gym or completely from heavy lifting, then it's more than enough to recharge my batteries. That's just an individual thing that comes with the vast amount of training experience that I have. So it's not a rule for everyone to follow, but it's just what I can do based on my training history. So I had a nice long break, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I got back in the gym yesterday, Monday, so that's a huge break for me. And this week, I'm keeping it relatively light. I'm doing my warm-ups, the warm-ups I'm going to do on meet day for each of the 3 lifts. I did that yesterday. And I also did my first attempt on the squat yesterday, which will be the first attempt that I obviously do on meet day. And I did my first 2 attempts on the bench press. I did that because my bench seems to recover very quickly from heavy work. The weights were feeling really easy, and I actually took out the heaviest benching for my week last week, so I felt I could get away with that. For my deadlift, I only did the warm-ups from what I'm going to do on Saturday. So again, that's just because I don't want to push the deadlift intensity too hard, too close to the meet. So today's Tuesday. I'm just going to hit my warm-ups today again. If I'm feeling really good, I might hit my first attempt on squat and bench again. If not, then c'est la vie, I'll take it. Tomorrow I'm going to take off. Thursday I'm going to get in for some more light practice again. Then there we are at the meet. The other things that have been going on lately is I've actually had to diet a little bit to get within the right weight range. Dexter's trying to play ball with me right now. Within the right weight range for my competition. So I have to weigh in at 204.6. Just the way things have been going lately, I wasn't as concerned with my appearance, and I just wanted to build strength. So I got all the way up to about like 212 at one point, which not a big deal, but this past weekend I was out of town for a conference with socializing. Weekend before that, I think it was the weekend before that, I had a bachelor party. I've had a few weekends where I've had to either party or socialize or eat like crap, and there's just no way around that. I mean, there is a way around that. It's called not having a life, and just focusing entirely on the goal. But again, I'm a newbie to powerlifting. I can get away with some of these things, and I managed my diet really well around those things. So even with partying and traveling and socializing and stuff like that, I managed to reduce my weight over the past few weeks gradually so that I'm within a couple pounds of what I need to weigh in on Saturday. So today I actually woke up at 204.6. I think I've got to weigh in at 204.8. So that's huge. I'm pretty much on weight. I can kind of take it a little easier with dieting, water consumption, stuff like that, leading up to the meet, which is nice because cutting weight sucks, and cutting weight absolutely drains your strength and drains your endurance and your will to live and all that kind of stuff. So it's nice to not have to do that. But I did have to do that in the previous couple weeks. So again, not ideal, but it's my first meet. I'm still a newbie. I can get away with a whole bunch of not ideal, really. I don't think I'll be setting any world records, but I do intend to put up some good numbers for myself. So for the next few days, I'm just going to keep my level of activity through the day relatively high. Avoid anything really strenuous, physically speaking. Won't be doing any dishes, that kind of stuff. But yeah, just trying to keep the metabolism going a little bit. Gonna eat intelligently so that I kind of stay on weight. And I'm going to do a lot more visualizing for the actual day, because there is a lot of value in that as well. But moral of the story is I was able to manage my fatigue through changing my program a little bit, reducing the overall volume that I had been doing. And I was able to manage my weight by eating and drinking intelligently, even when I was socializing, even when I was traveling and partying and stuff like that. So a lot of wins there. I'm pretty happy with how this whole process has gone so far. The other thing is that, Dexy, this is his favorite ball. He is absolutely obsessed with it. The other thing is that I was able to kind of see how different intensities, volumes, that kind of thing affect my body. So that was pretty interesting. What I found was that when I was reducing volume and intensifying my training a little bit, some of the routine kind of aches that just come with how hard I've been pushing, like having achy knees, for example, those things got a little worse. And then as I reduced volume, they started to alleviate, which is exactly what you expect in every training situation and every therapy situation. You have a certain threshold that you can accommodate, and when you pass beyond that threshold, things start wearing down at an accelerated rate. So I pulled back my volume under that threshold, and things started repairing. The repair kind of outpaced the damage I was doing. Felt good. These past 4 or 5 days that I've had off, my body feels like it will. I hit some good numbers in the gym yesterday easily, and my body feels like I've never trained before. So anything that was nagging, anything that was tense or tight or showing wear or anything like that, it pretty much went away. And that's just giving my body the time to recover that it needs. So there's an important lesson there. Manage your volume appropriately, manage your technique in the gym, and in doing so, you can manage how good your body feels. If you have to push hard for a meet or something like that, then there's a little less choice involved, but it's always an option. So I'll probably do another one of these in the next few days, just to show you what I've done over the last few days, visualizing wise, and kind of last steps to prepare for the meet. But yeah, that's the past few weeks. That's the big stuff. The big stuff is done. So I'm about to go hit up the workout after I catch my son. It's an important part of the prep too, get your vitamin D. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, send me your questions, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon.